I'm joined now by Brooklyn Congresswoman Yvette Clarke. Congressman, thank you so much for joining me from Washington. But before we get started on what's going on there, I wanted to talk to you about the person who had been the chairman of the Black Caucus in Washington before you became the head, and that was Charlie Rangel. And how do you remember him, and should our viewers remember him?
Well, decorated war hero, dedicated public servant for over 40 years serving the people of Harlem in the United States Congress, but serving the American people by passing groundbreaking legislation, the first African American to serve as chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, and just a wonderful, wonderful policymaker. He's a mentor to me and to many. I had the distinct honor and privilege of serving with the Honorable Charles Rangel, and his vision for our nation was always inclusive, but at the core of it were the people of Harlem, the place of his birth, and he will be dearly missed. The CBC members are all in remembrance mode of how he mentored them and the ways in which he, demonstrated to us the level of public service that we should all be striving for.
I think we all have memories of Charlie Rangel, but the one thing I think we all appreciate about him is he never stopped fighting for the people of Harlem and the people of New York.
Absolutely. He was the dean of the New York delegation for most of my tenure here. And so he will be dearly missed. He will be dearly missed and fondly remembered. His legacy will live on.
So, Congresswoman, there's so much going on in Washington, but I wanted to start out by talking about the travel ban that President Trump has enacted that affects 12 countries and limits restrictions on people from 7 others. What do you think that means for the country and also for your constituents?
Yeah, well, this is really a sequel. We've seen this with the Trump administration before in the first term with the Muslim ban. And that had a devastating impact on the people of the 9th District of New York. This ban covers many more nations, and we've estimated there are upward of 34 to 35,000 people within the 9th District alone that will be directly impacted, because we're talking about travel bans to the nations from their homes of origin. And, it's more of the compounding of the real disdain that Donald Trump has shown to communities of color, to nations of color. Many of the nations that are on this list, he referred to in his first term as countries, and he's acting on that. And it's really, truly unfortunate. I'm hoping that we will prevail in the courts against this ban as we did with the Muslim ban.
Some people think that at this time when there's so much hatred and dissension in the country, that this can only add to it. I wonder what your concerns are.
Absolutely. I mean, that has been the MO of this administration, sowing division, discord, and fear in the population, in the U.S. Population. And so to stigmatize these nations, many of whom are not designated terrorist nations, is just it's unheard of, and it's just again a further confirmation of his discrimination and bigotry against communities of color.
So, Congresswoman, everybody's talking about the big, beautiful bill that passed through the House, but now there's dissension between President Trump and one of his biggest supporters, Elon Musk. I wonder what you make of this back and forth, and how Elon Musk, who was trying to cut government, now says that the bill is horrible and, in his words, disgusting.
Well, yeah, listen. It further confirms for many of us who voted against this bill. Remember, it only passed by 1 vote in the House of Representatives. That what we saw with this bill will indeed explode the debt in the United States. and let alone the draconian cuts that strike at the heart of the services that the American people need, that the safety net, that the compact that we have made with those Americans who are working class and struggling to make it every day, to have access to health care, to supplement the need for the food insecure in our country. There are a whole host of things in what we call the big ugly that will ultimately be an upheaval in our nation in terms of our way of life. And when I think about the fact that you sandwich that with the tariffs that are taking place, it's a major pressure on the average everyday American. And it's ironic that the wealthiest man in the world is speaking out about this. And I hope that others will begin to do the type of analysis of this big ugly bill that ultimately upends civil society as we know it.
So my question really is this: since this has to go through the reconciliation process with the Senate, and the Senate is going to send you what will probably be a different version of the bill you passed, will the dissension with Elon Musk possibly cause the Republicans to rethink their support for the bill, and is it possible that it might fail?
Well, that remains to be seen. What I find ironic is that so many of our colleagues didn't even read the bill. And now they're finding out that there are egregious things that were added to this bill in order to get it passed in the House of Representatives that, again, will really create a severe hardship on the American people. A 10-year moratorium on states that are trying to regulate artificial intelligence. What are we doing? We're not protecting the American people, for sure, because we have been dragging our feet at the federal level and putting up those guardrails to protect our people. States have had to move ahead with it. Deregulating the purchase of silencers on guns when we are in a period of time of great dissension in our nation, and guns have become the weapons of choice, given this right to bear arms that so many of my colleagues are enamored with. Now people can be gunned down without any ability to hear guns going off. It's just very upsetting that we're even at the point where this is a point of discussion in our interview.
So, Congresswoman, we only have about a minute left, but I was curious about one thing. Do you think that the fact that Elon Musk is saying that the budget increases the size of the national debt will mean that cuts have to be made when it comes back to the House?
Well, see, that's the other side to this conversation. Elon Musk has his own agenda, and a lot of it is contained in this bill. He ultimately wanted to see the shrinking of government, and by any means necessary, except when it comes to, of course, the tax credits and support to EVs that have been the path that we've been on as a nation to make sure that we can protect our environment by converting. And then at the end of the day, the cuts that they're talking about would, again, put the burden and the hardship on the American people. We already are having difficulty meeting the needs of the American people in an inflationary civil society and economy. So, that will, I believe, push some of our colleagues to rethink what they've passed.
Well, Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to have to leave it right there for now, but we'll be right back.